Good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this May 9th version of AM Live on EOA. Your connection to Eastern Oregon. We're glad you're with us, and don't forget, we're always on Roku.
Speaking of Roku,
oh yeah,
I'm going to give one of these away this week. If you don't have Roku on your TV, this puts it on your TV.
Yep.
Right here. So pay attention to our social media this week, and I'll give you instructions on how you can win this.
Boom.
Boom.
Yep. And I have one of those. At my kitchen. So I have two Rokus at home. One on the TV in the
I don't have a Roku.
living room.
I have an Xbox. I don't have cable either.
Is that how you get all your stuff?
Yeah, an Xbox One is kind of like a Roku.
Yeah.
I mean, you can download all the apps on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a platform where you can do all that stuff.
Where you can find EO Live.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep. Well, how are you loving this rain?
Back to crappy weather again. It's supposed to be really nice on Friday.
Is it?
What I hear, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm checking that weather because we have big games on Friday.
All right. Well, let's do sports.
Let's do it.
Tell us about it.
Run right, did it? Oh, I was looking at
Yeah.
yeah, got two different things to look at. Anyways, for local sports, EOU softball ended up winning 2 in the CCC tournament. They ended up in 4th place. They lost to Southern in an elimination game. They lost to OIT earlier, and they beat UBC, and they beat Carroll. I mean, they finished exactly where they finished during the regular season, 4th place. We'll find out today at 2 if they get into the national tournament or not. I talked with head coach Nicole Christian last night, and she was not very positive about it. So I don't know. I mean, I would think we get in. We're top 25. We play in the toughest conference in the whole country by far. We have the number 1 team, the number 6 team, the number 8 team, and the number 24 team, all in the same conference. You'd hope there's 4 spots. There's 2 automatic spots. Right. Last year, 4 teams got in from our conference, us being the 3rd team.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I hope there's a way we can sneak in and these girls can go play in the national tournament, because Oklahoma's cool. It's a cool venue. It's really cool to watch. Baseball, their season's over. LHS baseball, they went to the west side of the state this last weekend. They played Philomath, and they beat them. And then they had a really hard time hitting and lost to a not very good Newport team, which is concerning. We're getting ready to make a state playoff run, and if we can't hit against Newport, we're in trouble, because there's a lot better pitching in the state of 4A than Newport. They play this Friday at home, 2 and 4. They're going to do the senior day stuff in between games. And then LHS softball, they play today at home against Vail, 3 and 5. And then they also have their senior day on Saturday or Friday against Pendleton, which they just announced. Let me get my computer screen to come back on here. I don't even know why it shut off. Not touching it enough. Anyways, they just announced that they pushed those games back an hour, so it'll be a staggered start. So instead of starting them at 2 and 4 like the boys' games, they're going to start them at 3 and 5.
Okay.
And they're going to do theirs in between as well. Their senior, recognize their seniors. And these are the last league games of the season. This is for softball. If they win one, they're tied. They go to the tiebreaker. If they win them both against Pendleton, they're number 1 from the GOL. Baseball, we have to win them both to tie, because they beat us twice over there. And if we tie, then it goes to a tiebreaker. So both teams have a chance to still win the GOL.
Cool.
Yeah. LeGrand currently sits, I think, on the dreaded poll, the OSAA poll that no one looks like. I think we're 5th. On the media polls on the west side, I think we're 4th. So, I mean, OSAA has got it kind of close for once.
Yeah.
Pendleton's number 1 right now.
Yeah.
Not on the dreaded poll, but on.
Why is it called the dreaded poll?
Because it's terrible. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It doesn't show the system that they have in place. It's the same for football. It doesn't show where you should actually be. I mean, you can't. The last year, we were number 8th in the state on that poll, and we dominated the playoffs and won a state championship in baseball.
Right.
It's like, And we're number 8. No,
Yeah.
we didn't lose in Oregon last year.
It seems like you would, after the season, you would go like, "Hey, our system is off." They won
I'm
the
sure they've
championship.
gotten
Yeah.
more than a handful of emails about
Yeah.
their system being off, and they haven't fixed it. So.
Yeah.
Nobody really pays attention to it. The only problem is that's what they pay attention to because they have to when it comes to seeding for the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like teams are misseeded quite often, but
Yeah.
I don't think it'll affect us. I mean, there's 5 really good teams in 4A this year that it'll come down to, and so one of those teams won't be in the semis. Basically, is how I'm looking at it. And it could be us. I mean, we're going to have to play good baseball to get through the semis this year.
All right.
Yeah, that's about it for sports locally.
So big games, though.
Big games. We're going to try to stream them too.
Those are Friday at.
Yeah, Friday at 2 and 4 for baseball, 3 and 5 for softball.
Okay. All righty. Sounds good. Let's look outside real quick here. A little gloomy. I don't know how to describe it.
At least it's not raining.
Yeah, a little overcast. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, we thought it was going to be rainy this morning.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I see rain in the forecast though for today.
Yeah. This is the kind of the. So it was 44 degrees just a bit ago when I did this, and supposed to get to 58 today. It was supposed to be rainy. Looks like it's clearing up a little bit more throughout the week. So, Gabe, we miss you. The most accurate forecast in Eastern Oregon. That's a true statement, man.
I wonder if he's still doing weather at all.
I don't know. I talked to him briefly or via text, and he's still because he had his jaw reconstructed, and so then it's required that it's wired shut. For a kid that talks so much, I cannot imagine. Anyhow, he said he was tired of the liquid diet, which is understandable. So
I've never had to do it.
Yeah, I don't think I would do very good at it. You still have to have it with a liquid diet. You still have to have a gap in your teeth to squirt the stuff in. It is.
I've never had to do.
I mean, or I think, or maybe you just. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Somebody can comment and tell us how that exactly works. I'm not sure how that works.
Me neither.
So, all righty. Well, Union County Commissioner Matt Scarfo is with us this morning. Glad to have him, and he'll be with us right after this. All right. Union County Commissioner Matt Scarfo, glad you're with us, man.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you?
Good.
Good. You know, from the minute you walk in the studio, we just always have a great conversation. You're always a fun guest for us to have.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so and some of that conversation has to happen off the air, thankfully. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. We can talk about it.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
Doing okay.
Good. No, I do know this. Like you are famous for is that mic hot?
No. Yeah.
Is that camera on? Yeah.
Oh, that ain't called being that's called being smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've walked in. I mean, during COVID and the Zoom calls and stuff.
Yeah.
You just wanted to make it through COVID without
Right.
forgetting that you're off mute.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people that I'd be like, hey, you're texting them real quick, going, "You're hot.
You're hot.
You're hot."
You're right. Get the damn
No,
dogs. They're
I've done
barking.
that. Yeah, no, we've done that before where, yeah, I've had, especially when we first started doing like town halls and doing stuff, and there were a couple of times that, I mean, literally where we're streaming. I mean, I got a text from my daughter in Portland. It's like, Dad, do you guys know you're on the air? and thankfully nothing was going on, but the talent was in here and we're talking back and forth. I mean, it was just totally prep work, and somehow the little streaming button had gotten, it was a big operation. And so anyhow, that's always embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't know if I've told the story already, but I went to the hospital meeting, and I walk in the room and there's only 5 people there, and I knew them all, and I just started going into my day and what happened and some things. Well, then I look up at the Zoom and there was like 46 people online, and I was like, "Is that hot?" And I think Robert Strope was on, and he was like, "Yep," and I was like,
Yep.
"Oh, okay, all right." So yeah, when I walk into a room now and I see someone's on Zoom or you know, it was like, is that hot or not?
Yeah.
We stream the football games, and we have an ambient mic right there up in the window. And I have to tell the people sitting in the top up there, like, "Hey, that thing's hot up there. Like everything you say is going on there."
Yeah.
See, that's what. Do you tell them or do you not tell them? Because
I tell them. I tell them.
Yeah, because some people would take advantage of that.
Yeah, but some people will also say some stuff that.
True.
I tell you what was funny is a couple of years ago we were streaming a football game in Baker City, okay, and the camera was on the visitor side. Well, the whole operation was on the visitor side, and we had an ambient mic on the camera, and right there was the LeGrand coaches' wives. And so they, nothing was said, but finally about halfway through the game, they're like, "Is that mic hot?" It's like, yeah, it was a funny moment. So hey, I want to talk about something that I think you can appreciate. Okay. And that is there's a segment of people that are still pissed off about COVID restrictions. I mean, there's my aggravation is people who hold grudges. And so, I mean, COVID was awful. And you were so much in the middle of that because you were kind of like the county point person and stuff. And so you're having to push on these, you're caught in the middle all the time,
Oh, yeah.
And so, but what gets me is these people that are mad. It's like, okay, now we're going to punish the rest of the world because we didn't like the COVID. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's supposed to be over.
It's supposed to be. I heard. Yeah, I heard the word.
Yes, and even for like hospitals, I had a meeting last week. The hospital, no one was there asking me if I had left the country. No one was, hey, here's your mask.
Yeah.
We walked in. There was no one even at the counter.
Right.
I was able just to walk in, and it was so nice.
Right.
Again, I still believe like how it was prior was, hey, if you're sick, if you got a cough, wear a mask, especially in the hospital.
Right. Yeah.
But if not, no.
But I guess what I'm saying is like, who knows? I mean, like the next cycle when you run for commissioner, I don't know when that is, you could have somebody who runs against you just because, he made us do all of those COVID restrictions. And that's the thing.
Well, I never once told anybody to.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Never once.
Right. I mean, and that's the point. The point is that we were all just muddling our way through from day to day. And so then it's like, just let it go already.
My big thing during COVID was getting us open as fast as we possibly can.
Right.
And if it was testing or, vaccine, whatever, I was just like, put your mask on so we could open the doors. I want to go. I was like, my big thing was I want to go back to normal as fast as we possibly can.
Right. Yeah.
And if the governor was like, I'm not letting you do it unless you did this, I'd grit my teeth and be like,
Okay, let's go.
Let's do that.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's the thing. And it doesn't matter if it's city council, school board, commissioners. There's a ton of leadership that was caught in the middle.
Oh boy, it was
Yeah. There's
no. I mean, we had different school districts trying different things, and people were. I mean, everyone was dodging. Well, at the one time, this was kind of towards the end with the schools where. The governor said it's up to the schools where they want to do masks or not. Well, everybody was going to the schools that weren't doing masks, and some were about to close, because they're going to have 5 kids in there that had masks on, and they usually had thousands in Portland. And that's when the governor said, "Nope, we're blanketing the whole state again."
Yeah,
and almost put us back in the beginning of COVID.
Yeah,
but it's funny, you look back, and it seemed like it was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
and it was just a couple years ago that. We couldn't even be doing this.
I tell you what, I find myself like reflecting. It's 23. Where did 21 and where did 20 and 20? Where did those years go? I mean, it's just so compressed. A
lot of people completely forgot.
Yeah, it's so.
Oh, that was worst ever.
What a weird time.
Oh, let's not do that again. But it's sad. We probably will be doing that again.
Yeah,
I think so.
Oh yeah, I think that was just a trial run.
Oh yeah. I hope it's not during our time.
Well, they're already saying that there's going to be one every about 10 years or something. So
well, the thing that and who knows, but I mean, it's the research that is coming out about the effectiveness of masks now that they have all of the data from the thing. I mean, and it was, I don't know, it was clear that we were jumping through a lot of hoops that did nothing for us whatsoever.
Well, I looked at all the other states and how they handled it.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida's a good example. They didn't do anything. And you'd think that there'd have been people stacked 10 high dead in the streets and all that stuff. And so when you start getting into almost the politics of the masks and the closing and okay, who did it right?
Right. Well, and at the end of the day, I think the thing that you look at is, what was the biggest loss? Well, the economy clearly was. There's so many businesses that just didn't exist after COVID, but also our education system.
Oh,
all those.
horrible.
I mean, all of those. I mean, we'll have 20 years from now, I'll bet we'll be able to see some kind of a gap in something, where that generation is missing skills in a particular manner or whatever that case might be.
I always said that our kids should never have been involved.
Yeah.
And when the school district and the teachers unions were saying that, no, we got to shut down all the schools and all that, I was just like, okay, people got to be mad now. The kids are getting involved knowing that they're the least affected population of COVID, and we're going to send them home and make them wear masks and all that stuff. And that was horrible in my opinion.
Nick Moss says mental health of the kids. Yeah, that ties into the.
Oh yeah, no, it was that was
education
not
part.
Well, and you kind of wonder. So there's this rise in violence across the nation, and you look at it, and some of it, in Texas, which is a big gun state, they've had a number of public shootings, but then they had somebody. Anyhow, you can just look, and I guess the trend that I'm seeing is that people are frustrated, they're angry, they're mad, and because of that, that's coming out in a number of manners. And you can. People can talk all day about what the specifics of that is and how to fix it. But you kind of wonder if this anger that is out there that has been brewing towards whatever is not really connected to people being locked up for 2 years in some manner. I can't imagine it's not.
Well, to be locked up for 2 years is not good for anybody.
Right. Yeah.
So that could possibly be it. Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. I mean, everything's politicized now.
Right. Everything.
And people are getting their businesses into politics. And, look at the Bud Light deal. And I was just like, no, what do you guys leave politics out? Well, what's the, what is it, ESG? They're doing point systems on how.
And investments.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah. I think someone brought it up to me, and I was like, wait, if your business isn't woke enough, then they're going to shut you down. Is that what this is? I don't know. I've always said the news on at any of my restaurants twice. And that was 9/11 and when we lost the hot shots in that car accident. All other times I do not put politics. I mean, the Weather Channel, everyone at Long Branch likes the Weather Channel.
Well, that's because they're all like 70.
No, wait a minute.
I got a younger crowd.
Wait a minute. I go to the Long Branch. I'm not quite 70 yet.
Yeah, but for everything else, I said no. There will not be any politics on any of my channel because I want you to go there and enjoy each other's company.
Yeah,
and not worry. I mean, if there's a ball game on, great, watch the ball game. But
yeah. No, it's funny. You know, I love not Long Branch, your other one.
Benchwarmers.
Benchwarmers, yeah. And I mean man, how many TVs do you have in that? There's probably like
11?
15.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just cool because you can be talking with somebody, and of course there's a lot of noise in there and stuff, but I don't know, it's just very stimulating. You can you can watch the game or kind of keep track of what's going on and have a conversation. And
the old owner, Patty Hinkle, she always said, the more things you offer, the more people will come in.
Right.
And we used to have NTN, that was that trivia.
Yeah.
And that used to bring in a ton of people, but the prices got so ridiculous. It was $650 a month to have that. And
it was like a screen that was
so yeah, you got a little box and then you could do the trivia, and they started doing poker and some blackjack and some other things on it. But at $650 a month, I started only getting a couple people playing it.
Yeah.
And that didn't pencil out.
Well, so talk to us about the commissioner world. What's up? What's going on?
I just got back from Salem yesterday.
Okay.
And went over and visited the Capitol. It's a little quiet in there because the senators walked out. The Republican senators walked out. I think it was Thursday?
And they're still out?
They're still out.
And what was that about?
They were saying, I think the Democrats they did something, and it's almost like the same old song and dance. It seems like every session is they did this, they did that. It pans out, and it's probably gonna be a gut and stuff at the end of the session. I don't know.
Well, and I couldn't figure out if there was a particular bill that caused that, or
there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the big one was I don't have the number right offhand, but it was the giving medical rights to 10-year-olds and higher. That's a big. So my son's going to be 9 here next month,
right? And
so next year when he turns 10, he go to the doctor's office and say, "Hey, mom, dad, you can sit outside."
That's craziness.
And and then I will never see his medical records or anything. I mean, that's kind of a little scary to me.
Yeah. No, I don't.
10-year-olds can have abortions, and it's a.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
No, and but nobody can buy a gun until they're 18 or whatever. 21. Yeah.
21 for a handgun.
Right. So it's just, I mean,
We'll wait until after the session.
Right.
Yeah, it could be 21 for rifles too, huh?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, there's a few gun bills still going around. And
Allison Moore said, "Did he just say woke?" Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said woke. I think
is that the term?
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I don't really pay too much attention to the.
That's what I hear on.
Yeah, I see it on social media all the time.
Yeah,
like on TikTok and on Instagram. But I don't really understand the whole.
You're not allowed to say woke. Is that racist?
No, I don't know. I think
everything's racist.
I don't think that's what she is insinuating.
Yeah, but there is, but it's funny because woke has become a pretty hot term. Because
is it like bad to say it?
Yeah.
Oh,
shoot.
Well, no. I mean, it's not. No, it's not bad. It's just like I mean, it's just a class. I mean, I guess some people might take offense to it.
I don't think think that's where she
so chime in and give us a little bit more information. So
no, she said, "Ha ha, so hip." Like she wasn't. Yeah, I know her.
Okay. So it made me look younger.
Yeah. Yes. Like it doesn't make you look like an old county commissioner.
Yeah, I can tell you in my family, and everybody has, my kids are in different areas of political landscapes, and recently my ex-wife referred to one of the kids as being woke to them, and they were not it was not a good conversation. They were not happy because they felt like the classification was too big, marginalized. So like, oh, they're
that definitely wasn't Kelsey. So it had to have been one of the other two kids.
Yeah, I'm trying to not name names here. Yeah.
I mean, I can probably guess who it is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
So, but anyhow, so I do, and that was the first time. It's like, oh, okay, well, some people can take offense, but I think the offense is that it's more complicated than that. You know, I mean, because everybody in the political landscape, you might be traditionally, you might have a fairly liberal view on something, but conservative views on others. You know, and so then that's why the political landscape is complicated, is because
Bud Force said, "Woke up this morning to drizzling rain."
Oh, geez Louise! Now
That's my armchair quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
He's always right there, ready to toss in his 2 cents.
So yeah, well, and what else is going on? What's anything burning down? You're excited about?
Well, just I think everyone knew that the governor was in town last week. And
yeah, how'd that go?
I think it went well. She came to Union County,
which is that's huge.
You know, I didn't vote for her, but I mean, and we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. But for her to come to Union County, I thought that was fantastic. She asked a lot of great questions. We had dinner with her. I think it was Thursday night. She was genuinely curious on how Union County was doing, what was going on. I did, towards the end, I didn't want to leave there without giving her a little something. And I talked to her about our behavioral health, mental health issues here in Union County and the effects of Measure 110, which I still to this day believe is the worst thing that's ever happened to Oregon. It's I'll just say legalization of, everyone says, no, it's the decriminalization of drugs. No, it's the legalization of drugs and narcotics in our state, which is not helping out our mental health, behavioral health side of things here at all.
Say?
I even quoted her during her campaign saying, give it time. Her answer was, give it more time. And I said, we have no more time.
Yeah.
Well,
I said, I want it back on the ballot, and I want, let's have the people, because now the people know exactly what it is. Because the first time, the way it was written, it was
vague.
Treatment
right.
for drugs and things, which I'm for treatment.
Absolutely.
Right. Yes, but not legalizing drugs, and then we'll give you treatment, which treatment still hasn't come out yet. And it's legalized first, and we'll worry about the treatment second. No, I'm sorry.
We did it backwards.
Yeah, our state's always done that. And so I was, not too happy with her answer.
Well, and I was, that was a big, during the campaign, that was a big hot button. I mean, there was a lot of conversation, especially between Drazen and her and in 110, and then when she was elected, it just kind of went away,
Yeah.
The conversation went away.
Well, yeah, Betsy Johnson and Christine Drazen, they were going to get rid of Measure 110 on their very first day.
Right.
And that's when I said in front of city council and everything, I was like, there's 2 out of the 3 that are going to get rid of Measure 110.
Yeah.
Please don't vote for Measure 110 again here.
Yeah.
And
well, what's crazy is that people are dying. I mean, that's the end result is that, and that would be a really interesting number. It'd be interesting to look. I mean, the influx of what's the terrible medication that
fentanyl.
Fentanyl. The influx
people were dying before.
Right.
I mean, there might be some more deaths, but that's 110 isn't making it easier to die. It's the fact that they're lacing drugs with fentanyl. That's what's causing it.
But I think it is, because you can have and correct me if I'm wrong, you can have a distributor of fentanyl who could have way more fentanyl than what they could consume themselves, and they literally can distribute that, and you cannot arrest them. Is it a gram or something of fentanyl? And
now we've talked about this before. I don't know the whole. Yeah. I'm not in that world.
Yeah.
I got to keep. You can have 20. I don't know what that.
No, it seems like
a lot.
Yeah, it seems like anyhow. But
it probably skews the number a little bit, but not. I don't think as much as we think. Right? And I'm not a proponent of drugs being decriminalized, legalized, whatever term you want to use there. I just don't think that there's that many more people dying. I think there's that many more people dying because there's this new drug that's really hard to detect, and they're going to get it regardless. BC, it doesn't matter.
Right, but
it really doesn't.
But the problem is 110, and it doesn't. Yeah, so fentanyl. I agree that it's become more complicated, and because of fentanyl being deadly. But the complication part of it is law enforcement cannot enforce hardly anything at all. They can't. They are pretty. Unless somebody has a ton of fentanyl with them, a bag or something. I mean, there's just, it is just very hard to.
I would say usage is up because before it was, hey, I'm going to get caught and I'm going to go to jail.
Right.
Now it's like, they can't catch me and they can't put me in jail. So I'm going to continue to do it.
No, we should have someone who knows about this and talk about this because there's got to be numbers. There's got to be a direct correlation that people can make. This has happened and this has happened and this is why,
Well, and then drug use is not all the time, but it's, generational.
Right.
And so, it's at home and your parents are doing it, then you do it.
Right.
And when there is no, used to respect and somewhat fear law enforcement.
Right.
Because you did not want to get in trouble.
Right.
And now that's gone.
Right.
And so it's like, well, I'm just going to do the drugs like my parents do it because it's legal.
Right. Yeah.
And which is not
right. And there's no teeth. And I mean, and it's the underage drug use that I think has become a little bit even more complicated, because there is no MIPs anymore. Is that it? I mean,
minor
there might be,
no,
but I mean, there's no,
for sure.
But there's no teeth to it.
No. It's the treatment part. I would like to see. I know there is prevention happening, but prevention, like, it started at the beginning, in my opinion, and work at them young, and so they don't become
right. And
into that world.
And I spent quite a bit of time, and I talked with George about this a little bit the other day, where we haven't had drug prevention education early enough. And now they're finally just starting a program for like 4th and 5th graders.
Well, good.
Yeah. So there is some movement in that area. I mean, they've had the DARE program and some of those programs when they get to junior high, but by the time they get to junior high, a lot of those kids have already made poor decisions in some manner or not. The other thing, it's really critical. I mean, we're really fortunate, and we just talked to George Mendoza about this the other day. LeGrand is fortunate to have a lot of extracurricular activities that pull in kids and give them an identity and give them something to do. It's the kids that don't have a place to plug in. Those are the ones that are, they're kind of on the edges or on the margins. And so it's a lot easier for them to get in with the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's everywhere.
That is
everywhere. That's right. That's everywhere.
Yeah. So, but if we're trying to make a difference in the lives of preventing drugs of the kids, we gotta figure out a way of reaching kids in the margins in some manner. Yeah. So, and there's some movement in that area. There's some good stuff.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So, what else? What else is going on? You dressed up today.
Yes, I actually have.
You have a thing?
I have a thing.
I thought maybe you dressed up for us.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
So did I.
Yes, that's it.
No, actually, I'm going to be running over to Wild Horse for their annual luncheon, the Wild Horse Foundation.
Okay.
And give us. Wild Horse Foundation does a fantastic job of giving back to the communities, and they bring a lot of money here to Union County as well, millions of dollars.
Wow.
And I'm fortunate enough to get invited to go over there and listen to their accomplishments and what they've brought here, and it's a really good deal. There's a lot of nonprofit organizations that get grants from here in Union County, and they do a great job. I'd like to go over there and pretty much just give them all hugs and thank you very much. And
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So I'll be heading over there for the luncheon today.
Now, I mean, and I'm sorry, let's go back for a minute because so did you feel like the governor was listening? I mean, you mentioned the word, you said curious, which is really good, in a person, of leadership. If they're not curious or if they're not seeking out information, then there's a feeling of like, they've already made up their mind or whatever the case might be.
So she had, well, first of all, they did their homework when they walked into the place where we had the dinner, and she walked right up to me, and I've met her before when she was a rep, and she's like, oh, good evening, Commissioner. And she's like, by the way, my wife Amy, she grew up in West Phoenix. Oh, and wow. And I was just like, you guys, what are you guys, CIA? What the? Right. Pretty much. And so I was very impressed and kind of, I felt like I was unprepared. I'm like, oh no, they looked at my bio. And so her wife came up and we chatted about, we grew up in Phoenix about the same time and had we actually kind of went to the same high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I went to the private boys high school, and right across the way was the girls, and she went to the girls a couple years after I did.
Oh, interesting.
So she's younger than you?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's like every time I'm on the show, I'm like, old.
Oh, you're not that much older than me. I was just surprised, like a governor's wife.
Yeah. Well, I never asked her age, but when she said, "Oh, I was there at this time," I was like, "Well, I graduated this time."
Right.
So, no, it was pleasant. Like I said, she asked the right questions. They did their homework coming in.
Good.
And well, each commissioner got a chance to kind of say what was going on, and I did not want the conversation to go there, but of course we were talking about feral cats because it was like the hot topic here for.
Really?
Oh, it still is the hot topic.
Yeah.
Is it a hot topic everywhere or just here?
Well, here there's it's
Union County.
Yeah, we got a lot of cats. We got cat problems.
Donna brings it up every time she comes on the show.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've heard it come up.
She's brought it up.
And I get it that it's a problem. But anyhow, I guess of all of we got a wolf problem too. We've got, and I mean, did that come up at all? Any of the?
Yeah. Wolf compensation came up, and everything that's going on legislatively. Yeah, we brought it to her attention, and
I wonder if she had a chance to look at the vastness of Eastern Oregon. You know what I mean? That's the thing that you can't really, till you get in an airplane and you fly over Wallowa County or you fly over, some of that area, you really can't get an idea of.
Well, a lot of, you're absolutely correct. A lot of people in legislation, I know a lot of commissioners, when I was going to county college, they thought Bend was Eastern Oregon.
Right. Yeah.
And the whole west side of the state thinks that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was in Eastern Oregon yesterday, and I was like, oh, whereabouts? Ontario, Baker, where's that at? And I was like, oh,
they think that's Idaho.
Yeah, they was like, oh, you guys aren't in Idaho yet? So they think Bend is literally Eastern Oregon. It's like, no, that's Central Oregon.
Yeah.
It's like keep walking.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you don't, and I mean, at least Union County is on the freeway. I mean, we have some advantages compared to like John Day,
Grant County.
County. It's like, I mean, that's no man's land politically out there for some of those folks, And
no, so I always say, have you ever driven to Boise? I'm like, oh yeah, on 84, yeah. Well, you went through LeGrand. I'm like, we did. Or they go, oh, I went to Wallowa Lake, and I'm like, oh, and you didn't get off in Union County? I was like, no, I've never been in your county before. I'm like, yes, you have. If you went to Wallowa Lake, you went.
Do you remember that place?
You went right through the whole county.
Yeah.
Dana said the cat thing was on Google News. It was like a national.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From Union County,
he said it was actually on Google.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, the other thing too is with COVID, like the animal shelters were shut down, and a lot of people couldn't get their cats and dogs spay and neutered. So there was a little bit of uptick there as well. But now, and it's not like they have litters every year.
No.
They could, as soon as they're done the litter, they could get another one just like that.
Huh.
Yeah, if you've been, there's a certain areas you go to and
In LeGrand?
in LeGrand,
Okay.
and there is just.
He said yes, Union County. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta look that up.
Wow.
That's what I said. The city council meeting. I said, becoming a county commissioner, I wasn't expecting to talk about cats and dogs and learning. Well, I mean, everything that's happened so far is like, I got a minor in epidemiology from COVID. Now I know what TNR program is, trap, neuter, release. I know that cats have more than 1 litter a year. I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah.
This is what a county commissioner does.
Yeah.
Huh? Then I go to Salem, then I gotta put my dog and cat hat on, and then oh boy.
And it's funny because you've talked about the amount of reading that you have to do, and there are times that I've thought, I would like to run for a county commissioner at some point, and and then I think, but Matt said there's a lot of reading. I can't do that. That's like, I can do talking, I can do meetings, but yeah.
Oh yeah, the emails. We were just talking about with a bunch of other commissioners. There was I'm not going to mention the county's name, but they got ransomwared.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
They're $5 million hostage. And that's one of the scariest things, that
right.
You don't want to be the person that pushes that button and downloads the
virus. The whole county up.
And so I was never really an email person to begin with.
Yeah.
But it's like, come to my office, call me, do not email me. And some people, that's how they communicate.
The only way.
Only.
Right.
Weird.
I said, that is just, no, get off your keyboard.
No, I'm with you. I cannot believe the number of people that they can't pick up the phone and call. I mean,
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a block, but I know a lot of people want my written word.
Right.
For documentation or whatever. But I'm not a big email guy to begin with, but now with this ransomware being
then you got this fear all the time.
Yes, and we get tested.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah, internally. Oh yeah, we have IT testing us all the time and sending us junk and
terrible.
And
can I be that guy?
They sent me one, I don't know, a month or so ago, and our administrator is Shelley Burgess.
Yeah,
and it was from her.
Oh wow!
And saying, hey, can you look over this for me real quick and I'm like, this doesn't sound like her.
Well, how would
I got up out of my chair, walked down into her office, and it just said, hey, what's that email you just sent me? And she's like, I didn't send you an email. And I sent back to the IT guy. I just go, seriously, with a question mark. And that was a
But
test.
how would you, I don't know. That seems like an unreasonable test because
they were trying to trap me.
Well, I know, but if it's an internal email from, if it's an external email that's coming in.
But it was obvious enough for me to pick it up that it wasn't from her.
That it didn't sound like her.
Yes.
In some manner.
Yes. And the link, they teach you, you're supposed to hover over the link, which I'm even afraid of that. I don't want to
because it tells you where it's going or where,
I don't want a feral cat to bump my arm and then I click the link and then next we're $5 million in the.
This person must work with you now that I'm figuring it out because she said he gets so nervous.
Oh, is it Allison?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Allison.
That's who made the comment about woke.
Okay.
Oh, we didn't put 2 and 2 together. I didn't know she worked there.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea.
That's funny.
And then Dana said, "Have you had to attend Jason's classes?"
No. That's if you do click on those.
Yeah.
If
you get punished.
Oh, he shut your computer down. If you click on it, it's an automatic shut your computer down.
Apparently, Dana has. Because
I have not. And so, and then you have to take a class to get your computer up and running again, and then you have to pass the class, and you actually get a certificate. I do not own any of those certificates. I think that's why they gave me the Shelley Burgess one to say, boy, we got to get him somehow.
He needs to.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, it's funny. Allison said that. Annette works at our office too, and I'll forward some over to her and ask her to open them for me.
That's messed up.
I get everybody gets phishing stuff all the time, and I'll get you have this unpaid invoice, or thanks for paying this invoice, or I don't know, whatever it might be, and it's an attachment that you're supposed to open, and I routinely will reply back and say, "Please send money.
Oh.
Please send cash."
This is probably thanks to you. Allison says she has 2 certificates.
Oh.
Right after you say, I just forward them over to her.
No, it was Annette. I don't give them that.
Oh, Annette? Oh, yeah. Allison says she's got 2. I wonder how many Dana's got. I want to check next time I go out there.
Yeah.
He probably got them. He ain't hanging those up.
But the scary thing is a click of the button and someone's saying $5 million, you're not getting your computers
Crazy,
back.
huh?
Right. So the stakes are pretty high.
Yeah. So emails are no joke. It's when I get them, I'd rather you call me or come in person
or text you.
Yeah.
Well,
I think everybody has my cell phone number these days.
Yeah.
I always say when
Hey, Scarfo, I need sponsored for.
Oh, boy.
That's the only text you ever get from me.
Well,
I got to be better than that.
No, that's fine. Texts are fine. I'll talk to legislators and stuff about, hey, emails, letters, do you even read these? And they're just like, they say, just text me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So I'll text legislation. I'm like, okay, no on this, yes on that. And they're like, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm not a big texter. Like I'm not a huge. I'd rather just talk. Like it's so much easier for one thing. For another thing, you don't have a paper trail.
But
like,
I think
you can't hold something I said in a text against me 5 years. From now.
You got to. I worry about what I'm texting around and things. But if I'm texting somebody. And after about 2 or 3 texts back and forth, I call.
Come on.
Right.
Or I call. Yeah.
And I know I've had that conversation.
I said, I'm not going to have a conversation over text messaging.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call you and we get this over in a minute.
Or if I'm in a text conversation with somebody and we're going back and forth quick, and then all of a sudden there's like this 5-minute pause, I'm just boop on the phone, like calling them. Like, hey, if you ain't going to respond, if we're done with this conversation, we're going to have it right here because I'm not waiting 2 hours for you to text me back on something that was pertinent 5 minutes ago. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it drives me crazy.
Well, I'll tell you what drives me crazy, and that is when the people that you never text or they don't text very often. And then when they do text you, but they expect, hey, can you go here? And you say yes. What time? There's no response. And so they want a response back quick, but they can't do the second part of the conversation. I mean, it's going to be a half a day.
Well, the lunch texts are always hey, you want to do lunch? Yes. Where? You pick. What time? I don't know. I'm just like, okay. It's like, this is getting.
Yeah, you feel like you're talking to your wife about going out to dinner. Like, where are we going? I don't know. You pick.
Well, it's
you know what you want, but you don't want to say the wrong thing.
And it's always I don't care. I'm like, okay, let's go down to Cinco.
Oh, they gave me gas last time.
I thought you didn't care.
Well, anything else?
Dana doesn't have any.
Oh, okay, good.
Dana doesn't have any certificates?
And he's giving me a hard time, too, because he says you have to answer your phone to talk. Oh, I'm not very good at answering my phone.
I agree. I mean, you answer the phone when I call, but it's like there are a lot of people, it's like, I mean, seriously, they don't answer. And it was funny because I saw somebody do a post. It was a meme on their Facebook. It was like, hey, for those of you that are trying to call me on my phone, I'm sorry, I don't use it for that.
That's every American. I guarantee you almost probably 99% of people use this more for other things besides the phone.
Yeah.
Besides actually talking.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast back and forth to Salem, and he brings up the phone a lot.
Yeah.
He must have something in his comedy show where no phones allowed. He's talking about the phone purse or something like that they have in there. But he's like, no, I'm addicted. My phone is, like, I would love to not have my phone for a week, but to pick it up after a week, that scares me.
Yeah.
Because I will have 5,000 emails and text messages and voicemails.
Right.
That's like, okay, the week that I just enjoyed.
Right.
Now I need an extra week. I'm a week behind.
You got to work through that. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So no, emails are not a good one.
Well, and the problem, I guess the problem is everybody has their own work style, and the people that send emails and communicate almost exclusively through email, that's their thing. I mean, they're sitting in front of their computer, they're communicating. As soon as they send that email, they're on to another task.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is it puts the burden on someone else to respond, rather than a phone call. With a phone call, you're the two of you you're talking back and forth and you're making traction and the conversation's done, so I guess I'm not appreciative of the email only people, because it's me changing my work style to adapt to them. It's not a two-way conversation. So.
Yeah. And the other thing was, in county college, they always told us be wary about reply all.
Oh,
and
because you can do it on accident, right? And
it's you shouldn't ever do reply all. And for me now, I really wish people would stop doing reply all, because I'll just have we'll just have cats, and it'll be out to 195 people, and all 195 people are replying all.
Right.
And next thing you know, I'm going to have 300 texts within an hour.
Right.
Because everybody's got it on their phone and they're just like, yes, I could be there. Yes, I could be. I'm just like, what? I don't know. No. Just reply to the person that sent it.
Yeah.
And don't reply all.
Yeah.
And anyway. No, so a lot of reading.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't, I was listening to Michio Kaku on the Joe Rogan show. He's one of my favorites. He's a physicist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a physics geek.
Uh-huh.
And he's got a new book out, and I really want to read it. And I don't know if I can. I have 2 books sitting on my end table right now, and I just read so much at my job. I come home, and that's the last thing I want to do. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. But I like listening to books or listening to podcasts or whatever. I mean, if you're driving, if you have enough time to do that, but
going to Salem and back, you have plenty of time.
You have plenty of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm even looking at I was like, oh, that's a 2-hour and 2.5 hour one. I'm like, well, what am I going to listen to after that?
That's a short one for Joe Rogan.
Yeah. No,
Rogan will do like 4-hour ones sometimes when he has like Neil deGrasse, or I don't know if Mike Tyson was like 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
It's like a 2-dayer, for me.
I was just I was kind of skimming through after I got the Michio Kaku done, and I saw he had Ric Flair on.
Yeah, recently too.
Yeah,
just in the last.
And I listened to the first half hour of it. Now I want to listen to the rest.
Nature
of it.
Boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It sounded awesome.
You ever listen to Mike Rowe? You might like
him.
Yeah,
I like Mike.
Yeah.
Dirty Jobs.
Yeah, I listen to his stuff
all my wife reads all the stuff and does. He's very articulate and
he's super smart.
Oh
dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Rogan is he can get anybody in the world on his podcast.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, anybody.
If he
wanted the Pope on his podcast, he'd be sitting.
Well, he's
there.
number one.
Yeah, he's the god of podcasts.
Yeah. Who would have thought that you could do 2-hour, 3-hour podcasts
and people would be intrigued
and people would listen to it?
Well, he has to bring it. I mean, and he knows it. Like he knows that it can't be stale, and so they talk about stuff that people don't like talking about. And
right.
Well, that makes it.
He had Pauly Shore on, and I guess they were really close friends. And they were talking about how he prepares. He's like, no, I got to prepare for like he was talking about Michio Kaku. He's like, I have to go like read their stuff because I don't know about physicists and things. And he's good though. I mean, his questions he asks, boy, he's doing his research. And Pauly said, did you prepare to have me on? He's like, no.
I watched Biodome.
So
I watched Son-in-Law.
Yeah, I didn't write one question down on having you on here. Real.
Joe Rogan though, he's done a lot of stuff in his career before podcasting. I mean,
oh yeah,
he was the host of Fear Factor.
Mm-hmm.
He's been with the UFC since before Dana White.
Yeah.
He's one of the, when you talk to people in the MMA world, he's the one person in the world you don't want to get kicked by.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, his kicks are like just stupid. And I don't know. How do you go through all that and then all of a sudden become the number one podcast guy in the world? And he's good at it too. Yeah. It's not just a lucky, it fell in his lap. No, he's good at it. Yeah. He's really good.
Yeah. And speaking of podcasts, I was just on EOU's podcast.
I saw that. I saw it on social media.
Yeah, they got the headsets.
Got the whole thing.
The whole
they turned
thing
KOL into a podcast.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool little deal. And I asked them where the camera was, and it wasn't live.
No.
And that's one thing
recorded. There is no camera, is there?
No, they're going to get one though.
Oh, are they? They're going to do it. They're going to do it in video.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool deal, but the live part, because we started, and I'm always used to like with us, it's like, oh, we're on.
Yeah, right.
And I got to watch what I say.
Come on.
But then, they said, oh, hey, stop, let's redo this. And so I'm answering some of my questions.
Oh, you can't do a podcast like that.
Well, that's what I was I said, so I could stop and go, I'm going to answer that differently. Cut that out. I love live.
Well, in most podcasts, they don't edit them. Like that's kind of the organicness of it is what attracts people, right? Like if I sat here and asked you questions and it was just stale, every answer was, we stopped it after every answer, cut it in, that would be so boring. So a lot of podcasts, they just run them.
Yeah.
You can tell, like Rogan's camera, it never stops. If Mike Tyson makes a blunder, you see that, and it just keeps going. And he don't do it live.
When I ask them about the live part, they can't just be Joe Rogan and having curse words and the blunders and all that. They are still.
They're not FCC regulated.
I don't think we're allowed to curse. I don't think there's that. So you got
probably university standards. Yeah, because if it's not live on the air over the airwaves, it's not FCC regulated.
Well, anyway, I did listen to a couple other ones, and they're not 2.5 hours. They're like quick little 30, 45-minute ones. They're really good. They're fantastic. Good. So I encourage anybody to go, and they're just getting more and more. So I'd encourage anybody to maybe get you guys on there.
I used to spin records up in that building, but always after midnight.
Oh,
because after midnight you can play curse words on the.
And they're so important in music.
Well, when you like hip hop, it's pretty.
Oh, true. That's like you can't play.
And it's the late '90s. I mean, the only cool thing in the late '90s was hip hop, really.
There's not a cool thing.
Yeah, but I mean, okay. After midnight, you used to be able to play curse words.
Gotcha.
In KOL.
Gotcha.
Well, I can tell you, live is a heavy lift. It really is. I mean, and
it's way different.
It's way different.
Well, and usually about this time in the show is where I forget that we're actually live. And I always got to
get comfortable.
Yeah. Always got to.
I'll tell you, like the first few times we did it, I was a little nervous, and now it's just like, here we are. Like, let's do it. It's not that I'm bored of it or anything. It's just like I've gotten to the point where I know what it is, and it doesn't make me nervous at all.
Yeah. Well, and I like this show. Love the comments that people have sent in and stuff.
That helps.
Because it just changes the dynamics. Not the three of us in a room being watched. People are involved.
Well, it's still. I mean, if anybody's any questions, please, send them in. I hate just talking. I need to know what everybody wants, and that's why I love one thing I love about this job is call me if you have questions, please.
If anybody has questions, Commissioner Scarfo would like an email that says this is a test.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, I have someone who texts me or sends me a message after the show like, well, why didn't you ask them this? And I'm like,
you can ask
why
them.
Didn't you
I pay
get
attention
on the screen
the whole
and
time.
ask them yourself? It's so anyhow.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started. Yeah.
And I did this all the time during COVID. I haven't done it in a while. 541-963-1001.
Yeah.
I remember that number from how many times you said it on the show.
At any time.
1001.
Yeah. Please give me a call.
Yeah.
I get people, they call and I appreciate it. And usually I either point them in the right direction or answer their question. And they're always, hey, that was easy. Thank you very much. I'm like, stop in next time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for what you're doing. I always brag about you and the other two county commissioners and love what you guys do. Love love the mix. I mean, you guys are all so different, and that works really well for the way that you serve Union County.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I really do appreciate the other two commissioners. We have budget coming up end of this month.
yay.
Oh,
Very
it's
good.
not. It's a lot,
Yeah.
and it's always nice when it's done.
What's the Union County budget total? What do you guys spend a year?
Oh boy, you had to ask me that. It's up there. It's a good one.
Like, I mean,
I'll have to get back to you on the
couple
actual.
million. I mean, like it's got to
It's
be
got to be more than
100
Oh
million?
yeah, no, it's up there.
100. Yeah, because cities is, I think city is 51 or something like that, but 51 million.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, all righty. Well, hey, you want to get
Let's
us
do
out
it.
of here, man?
Let's rock and roll.
All right.
On this day, 1502, so that would be what is today?
May 9th.
Christopher Columbus left Spain on his fourth and final trip to the New World. On this day in 1914, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson proclaims Mother's Day. 1914 on this day was when it was first established as a holiday. 1960 on this day, the U.S. became the first country to legalize the birth control pill. 1960.
60.
Birth control's only been around for 65 years.
Huh.
Wow. 1992, final episode of Golden Girls aired on NBC. 1992.
Huh.
That seems like it was so long ago. 2005, liberal commentary website The Huffington Post is launched. Don't you pay attention to that?
What year?
The Huffington Post. Have you ever read any of their stuff? It's like the magazines you find in the store. What are those called? Tabloids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty tabloidy. 2005.
Okay.
So it's been out for 18 years. 2022, an Andy Warhol portrait of Marilyn Monroe sold for $195 million at an auction in New York, the highest price ever paid for an American artwork. $195 million for a Warhol.
Wow.
I mean, it is two pretty profound people in American history.
Yeah.
Andy Warhol.
195 million though.
Some people have that kind of money. Dude. It's not even a big deal, right?
Well, maybe they only had 196 million, and then they're gonna live. Yeah.
You'd still be all right.
Yeah, there are a million.
I mean, because with that $195 million painting, in 20 years, it's probably worth $300 million.
Yeah, well, it's worth as much as someone's willing to pay for it.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah.
Number one song in America on this day, 20 years ago, 2003, Get Busy by Sean Paul.
Huh?
Get Busy by Sean Paul.
Never even heard of it.
I don't either. That's
I have. Quote of the day. You cannot swim for new horizons until you have courage to lose sight of the shore. One more time. You cannot swim for new horizons until you have courage to lose sight of the shore. William Faulkner.
all right.
That's all I got.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Matt, for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. And we'll see you all Thursday right here.